Harry Styles consistently takes home a Grammy. Harry Styles said as he accepted the Grammy Award for Album of the Year for his 2022 album Harry's House, "This doesn't happen to folks like me very often." The Beyhive, who thought Beyoncé's Renaissance was the obvious front-runner, was shocked when he received the award. What could Harry, a billionaire cis-white male from Cheshire, have meant by people like me besides that perplexing choice, though? 56% of Album of the Year award winners since the Grammys' first ceremony in 1959 have been white men, either solo or in bands. 29% of the 56% white men in this group were British. The Beatles, who also grew up in the northwest of England like Styles, and George Michael, whose hotly contested queerness frequently dominated the news and gossip cycles of the day, are two examples of the 10 British white male recipients of the award over the last 6 decades. We might therefore conclude that there are 2 instances of people like him who have received the same honor if we base our conclusions on those identifiers. Add to that the reality that since Lauryn Hill's 1999 album The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, no black woman has won the Album of the Year award. In actuality, only Lauryn Hill, Whitney Houston, and Natalie Cole are black women who have won the award in its history. Given this, it makes sense why shock occurred. His comment felt like salt in the wound. His remark felt like adding salt to an already open wound. Of all, it's not his fault that he beat out Beyoncé for the Grammy. That's a complaint we should be making to the voting committee. Deserving performers, frequently black women, are routinely passed over by the Recording Academy, who then make up for it with other, less significant accolades. A good example is Diana Ross, who over the course of her career sold over 100 million albums worldwide without ever taking home one of the Big Four awards: Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, or Best New Artist. Online, Styles' remark sparked considerable misunderstanding as some people defended him while others expressed horror. However, the majority of us were wondering what he meant when he said people like me, with things like that happen to people like him most of the time. When incidents like that frequently occur to individuals like him, what did he actually mean when he said, "people like me"? Here's the issue, though. Think of Brooklyn Beckham and Maddie Healy of the 1975 as examples of the nepotism and class issues that exist throughout the UK's cultural sectors. Many people who work in the fields of music, art, journalism, and fashion are there because to personal connections or having a wealthy family that can pay for unpaid internships. As far as we know, Styles had no inside connections to the business prior to appearing on The X Factor, and he was working in a bakery when he went in for an audition. Perhaps this is what he meant when he made the remark about people like me. Of course, there are more reasons as well, some of which Styles has openly discussed and some of which the general public may never be aware of. We do know, though, that he entered the X Factor's 2010 season with a beanie hat and a dream, and he hasn't looked back since. At the time, the show was a relatively successful platform for pop star careers. Some Twitter theorists have assumed his comment was in reference to growing up in a small town to dig deeper northern town outside of Manchester. While it is impossible for us to fully understand each individual's situation, it is important to keep in mind that Holmes Chapel is a wealthy neighborhood with a higher than average rate of home ownership in the UK. According to data from the 2021 census, it is also among the widest regions in the UK. Since 1983, it has been a Tory stronghold. As Styles has previously discussed his pleasant childhood, one can assume that growing up in Holmes Chapel wasn't really a negative for him throughout his life. Of course, no amount of Twitter speculation will ever fully explain what Styles meant at that precise moment, but the perception of that statement coming from a white man winning an award historically won by white men are hard to escape. So, from now on, I'm hoping that Harry Styles will just stay silent.